every battle we face on earth. And for you in business, I want you to let this sink this morning. Some of your battles are not on spreadsheets. They are not in your shop. They are not in your office, but they are spiritual. Whether you like it or not, some of the battles that you face are spiritual. There are deals that you didn't lose because you were incompetent. There are contracts that delayed not because you were lazy. And there are seasons that became hard not because you lacked the skill or anything. Sometimes you are simply in a battle. But he has a comfort that Yahweh Sabaoth goes ahead of you and he fights a competition you can't see. He breaks a resistance you can't explain, and he opens a door no CV or a proposal or capital code actually opens. So as you step into your day, into meetings, into negotiations, into selling, buying, planning, I want you to remember that you are not alone in the market, you are not alone in a struggle, and you are not alone in the fight. The Lord of hosts is with you, and when he fights for you, no economy, no system, and no man can stop what he has ordained for your hands. And that is my word for you this morning. Well, let me run you through what we have for you today. Of course, we're starting with our news review segment, and right after that we get into our business news segment at exactly 7 o'clock, and at 7:30 I will come your way with a business brief segment, and then we get into what we call the transport today, looking at the local flight schedules as well as the traffic situation in town, and that will be brought to you by Solomon Tetenati. And then we get into our market trend segment with Emmanuel Batia, in-house economic analyst. And of course, we wrap everything up with our roundtable discussion this morning. Today, we're talking about the stability of the CD, and we're looking at exactly what that means for you as a business owner and all of that. So that's a very important conversation. If you're in the business community, that's a conversation I believe you don't want to miss. If you know anybody that is supposed to also listen to that particular conversation, feel free to send a link to them. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please share the link with your family and friends and get them to join the conversation this morning. And it's a very interactive show. Send me a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019, and I'll read your messages for you. And you can also call us on 0303956641, 0303956641, and then of course I will also give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. So please don't go anywhere. Let's get into our news review segment right away this morning. Right, thank you very much. Let's get into our news review segment, looking at some of the stories making waves this morning, and then we try to break a few of them down. Let me start with myjoyonline.com. Top story says Mahama government clears $1.47 billion US dollars, and also energy sector debt restores. Mahama government clears 1.7 billion US dollar energy sector debt and restores World Bank guarantee. And also Mahama departs for World Economic Forum, and also government pays 393 million US dollars in IPP debts as part of energy sector reset. And also Embassy of Ghana confirms ICE detention of Ken Oforiatta. And also beyond the arrest, Wi-Fi's against Galamsey is feeling in the courtroom. I think that's a feature there. And also this one says that national security turns to public cleanup to curb prostitution in Tamale. Also 2026 is the make or break a year for Ghana's cannabis industry. And also power, dust, and the parable of Ken Oforiatta on ICE, and that is also a feature, I believe. Let's look at citynewsroom.com. It says the government pays 1.4 billion US dollar US dollars to stabilize energy sector, and that is coming from the finance ministry. And also, forget the retail takeover. Nigerians pumped 103 million US dollars into Ghana's economy. And also, Ghana's cannabis industry must shift from policy to action in 2026, and that is also coming from the chamber. We're going to look at all of those stories. Also, Toye Boa defends Saglemi probe and accuses Attorney General of spewing untruths. And also, Tampuli, NPP remains a national party and not ethnic or religious. And that is also the story there. Also, Ayawaso East, this one says too early for succession talk, and that is coming from Kabiru. Also, Ghana experiencing a reverse, not a reset, and that is coming from Dennis Miracles Abuaji. Also, this one says we pay 5 firefighters injured in accident en route to fire scene. I saw the video there yesterday. We'll touch on that shortly. And this one says that drone technology needed to stop illegal mining at river sources, and that is coming from the Western Regional Minister. And also, we saw kind spare parts dealers and Guta Renew Corporation after constructive talks. And those are some of the stories on citynewsroom.com. Let's look at the channel One News Online.com. This one also says that the government resets energy sector and settles 1.4 billion US dollars arrears. And also, police arrest 6 suspected land guards after gun battle at Trasako. And also, Saglemi case, Ayine seeking to bury the truth, and that is coming from Tia Yiboa. And also, this one says that focus on mourning and not replacements, Kabiru tells NDC. And cost of living worse after a year of NDC rule, and that is coming from Dennis Miracles Abuaji again. And also, Vice President Late says that the late Ayawaso East MP's legacy must guide public service. And also, Abusoka and spare parts dealers and Guta resolve disputes. We'll look at that shortly. Also, Bedra demands justice for resource guard shot at Kalapa Reserve. And also, 5 suspected kidnappers arrested, victims rescued in Sawam. And also, pensioners demand minimum living pension after 10% SNET increase. Also, water crisis hits Lashibi Spintex as taps run dry for months. And also, from the Ghana embassy, they said that, they're saying that we will ensure Oforiata's rights are respected. So those are some of the stories also on that platform. Let's look at graphiconline.com. It says that President Mahama departs for key international engagement in UK and Switzerland. And also, police arrest 6 suspected land guards after gun battle at Trasako. And Akufo-Addo praises NPP election committee for transparent primary process. And also, selfish leadership and mismanagement hurting Ghana, and that is coming from a Methodist presiding bishop. And also, Emirates A380 makes rare emergency landing in Accra after smoke warning. And also, in ICE custody, Ken Oforiata turns down Ghana embassy official visit without lawyers' presence. And also, Boise, this one says a court remands 9 for assault on policemen on duty. And also, people who come off slimming jabs regain regain weight 4 months faster than dieters. And also, Ken Oforiata's US visa was revoked. He did not overstay, Aine reveals. And those are some of the stories this morning making waves on graphiconline.com. Let's look at the international front on bbc.com. It says that U.S. Justice Department opens criminal probe into Fed Chair Jerome Powell. And also, Chalamet beats DiCaprio to Golden Globes glory. And also, revolutionary eye injection saved my sight, says first ever patient. And also, U.S. figure skater whose parents were killed in D.C. plane crash heads to Olympics. And those are some of the stories there as well. I want to look at other. Okay. All right. So BBC Africa. This one says that he once criticized African leaders who cling to power. Now he wants a 7th term. And that is coming from, that is about Yoweri Museveni, who is 81 years. And he's seeking another term of office in Uganda. And also, Sudan's government returns to capital after nearly 3 years of war. And also, Nigeria set up semi-final tie against AFCON host Morocco. And also, this one says that hounded and harassed the former pop star taking on Uganda's long-term president, and that is Bob Winnie. Also, author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's family accused hospital of negligence over son's death. Deepest condolences to the family. And also, this one says that Salah settles thriller as Egypt beat holders Ivory Coast. And also, U.S. film stars Megan Good and Jonathan Majors become Guinea citizens after DNA tests. So those are some of the stories there as well. Let's look at CNN. CNN Africa. This one says that British boxer Anthony Joshua injured in car crash that killed 2 in Nigeria. And also, fear and confusion in Nigerian village hit in U.S. strike as locals say no history of ISIS in area. And also, Trump says U.S. military struck ISIS terrorists in Nigeria. Also, Trump says violence in Nigeria targets Christians and the reality is more nuanced. So those are some of the stories there. Let's look at CNN itself. Okay, look. U.S. federal prosecutors open criminal investigation into the Fed and Jeremy Powell. And also, hundreds of immigration officers headed to Minneapolis as tensions between federal and local officials flare amid protests. And those are some of the stories there as well. Trump also weighs potential military intervention in Iran, says there are very strong options. And also, Iran Supreme Leader posts cartoon depicting Trump as a crumbling sarcophagus. All right, so those are some of the stories there as well. Let's look at Bloomberg. Fed served with DOJ subpoenas. Powell vows to stand firm, and also Bill Pold seen as key instigator behind Powell subpoena, and also gold hits record as risk to Fed's independence, and also Iran fan demand. And City of London hiring fell last quarter ahead of UK budget, and former F1 champion Nico Rosberg raises $100 million for VC firm. All right, so those are some of the stories there. Let's try and see if we can break a few of them down. And the top story on myjoyonline.com talking about the government's clearing of the $1.47 billion energy sector debt. Let's look at that story shortly. It says that the government of Ghana says it has paid a total of $1.4 billion within its first year in office to settle long-standing energy sector debts and restore the World Bank's partial risk guarantee, marking what it described as a decisive turnaround for the sector. And also, according to a statement issued by the Ministry of Finance on Monday, January 12, 2026, the Mahama administration inherited an energy sector on the brink of collapse due to years of non-payment for gas supplied from the offshore Cape 3 Points field, which had led to the full depletion of the $500 million World Bank partial risk guarantee. Now, the ministry noted that a guarantee established in 2015 under a previous NDC administration was critical in unlocking nearly $8 billion in private sector investments through the Sankofa gas project. Now, its exhaustion, the statement said, represented a serious governance failure that's undermined Ghana's international credibility. And this is what it says, I quote, it says that as at 31st December 2025, government has fully paid $597.15 million, inclusive of interest drawn on the World Bank guarantee. The ministry, unquote, the ministry stated, adding that the repayment has fully restored the facility and reaffirmed Ghana's standing as a credible and reliable partner on the global stage. So, I think that's some good news. We all know the situation about the energy sector. I remember upon the assumption of office, the energy minister raised a few concerns about the fact that we're going to face some power outages and all of that, and it's because we had some shortage of gas and a host of other things, and we all know the challenges in the energy sector in this country. One of them is debt. I mean, the sector is hit with high levels of debt, and so once the government is beginning to make some payments, I mean, begin to clear some of those debts, I think that is some good news. And I mean, the highlight of this story is actually the fact that this actually restores a World Bank guarantee. And so the World Bank has there's a World Bank partial risk guarantee that we enjoy, I think about 500 million US dollars, and it totally depleted. I mean, according to the story, totally depleted. But this payment has actually restored that, and so we hope to see what comes out of that in the coming days. But that is some good news. And also, this one also says that government pays 393 million US dollars in IPP debts as part of the energy sector resets. Now, let me read a portion of that as well. It says that the Ministry of Finance has disclosed that the Mahama administration paid approximately 393 million US dollars in legacy debts to independent power producers in 2025 as part of a broader strategy to stabilize Ghana's energy sector. Now, in a press release issued on Monday, January 12, 2026, the ministry said the payment formed part of a wider 1.4 billion US dollar intervention aimed at clearing inherited arrears, restoring investor confidence, and ensuring reliable electricity generation nationwide. And the beneficiaries of the payment included Car Powership Ghana Limited, which received 120 million US dollars, Send Power Generation Company 59.44 million US dollars, and also Sunan Sugli Power, which was paid 54 million US dollars, among others. So that is that. I mean, the concerns or the conversations about the debts owed these IPP, the IPP as the independent power producers, is actually something that has been long overdue. There's been lots of conversation along those lines. I mean, talking about paying them and all of that. I'm glad that the Ministry of Finance has actually started something along those lines. Also, this story says that national security tends to public cleanup to curb prostitution in Tamale. Also, so let me read a portion of that. It says that national security operatives in the northern region have adopted an unconventional tactic in their fight against street prostitution, ordering women arrested in Tamale to clean parts of the city's central business district. Now, Joy News sources confirmed that the operation, carried out in collaboration with migration authorities, targeted areas long identified as hotspots for street prostitution, though officials have not disclosed full details of the exercise. Now, the women were seen sweeping streets and collecting refuse in busy commercial areas. A move authorities say is intended not only as punishment but also as a public statement on discipline and urban cleanliness. Now, the action has triggered mixed reactions among residents. Now, while some locals have welcomed the approach as a practical deterrent and a contribution to keeping the city clean, others have questioned its effectiveness and raised concerns about whether it addresses the underlying causes of prostitution. Now, beyond prostitution, the national security has also intensified its crackdown on drug use in the region, with several arrests recorded in recent operations. Now, at a stakeholder engagement organized by the Northern Regional Coordinating Council late last year, the Regional National Security Coordinator expressed concern over the growing incidents of drug abuse among the youth, assuring participants that authorities would work closely with stakeholders to safeguard the city and restore public order. Now, I think one question that is on the minds of several Ghanaians is whether prostitution is illegal or not. So that's well, so from what we are seeing in this particular story, I think that settles that particular point. You know, prostitution is illegal in Ghana under the country's under our criminal code. But you know, enforcement and interpretation vary in practice, and many people mistakenly believe it is legal because it is widespread. Recently, I was driving in town with my dad, and he was talking about this particular matter. I think we passed through some parts of East Legon, and there are people I mean, there were some of the ladies standing by the streets and all of that, and he was pointing to them, saying that this is illegal and this must be dealt with. I'm glad that something like that, of that sort is happening somewhere in Tamale. But as to whether the approach is effective, that is for everyone to judge. So in Tamale, what is happening is that the national security operatives in that particular, in the northern region really, are actually, they are cracking down on the people or the women or the ladies who are actually in street prostitution. And the punishment is that once you are caught, you are made to sweep parts of the community, of the streets really. And I think that is also that's very helpful, because at the end of the day they get to clean the place. But the crackdown on prostitution, if it is indeed illegal and we know it, then I think that enforcement must be more serious, because I see a growing number of our young people, and the word on the streets is that some of them are from Nigeria and all of that, and they've come to the country and they are practicing this. There are lots of consequences associated with these things, but I think that we really need to do something about it. But also beyond these punishments that we are giving them, the sweeping and all of the things that they are doing somewhere in Tamale, I think one of the things is that we need to look at the cause. Why are people in there? And I think one of them is unemployment. When a lot of people are unemployed, they might resort to other ways of making money, and one of those ways that they resort to is prostitution. I am not saying that is actually something commendable, but that is one of the things that they resort to. I've seen documentaries where people are engaged. They have been asked why they are into this, and they say that they don't have a job. But of course, there are some other people that are also very lazy, and simply because of that, they don't want to go and work. They don't want to go and look for any work that will, quote and unquote, stress them. And so because of that, they resort to some of these things. But I think that we need to crack down. We need to find the root causes to some of these things and provide solutions if we are really going to tackle some of these things. And now the story also talks about drug abuse. That's also a very big issue. I've spoken about it a lot of times here, and I've always called for the concerted effort in dealing with the menace. The Ministry of Youth and Youth Empowerment actually has been working on something along those lines. I think Red Means Stop and some other initiatives just to be able to deal with that. I've seen Food and Drugs Authority do same. I've seen National Security, a lot of entities in the country. But the issue is that a lot of us are working in isolation. Civil society, NGOs, and all of that, we are working in isolation. I think that we need a concerted effort to be able to actually fight this particular menace. Let's continue to educate our young people, and let's continue to help them stay away from these things. And even more, more appropriately, or more importantly, parents are also supposed to take responsibility. They are the first set of people to take responsibility before it even gets to governments and all of that. So let's try and see how we can deal with some of these things as a country, because the consequences are there. We see a lot of our young people, some of them, you can see them standing, but they are I don't know whether they are sleeping. They call it nodding. They are sleeping or whatever, and it is not even funny. This is something that we have to really deal with if we want to take hold of, to utilize our greatest resource as a country, which is our young people. So that is that we need to look at all of those things and deal with them accordingly. Well, let's look at some other, maybe one other story before we go. Also, this one says that 2026 is a make or break year for Ghana's cannabis industry, and that is coming from the Chamber of Cannabis Industry here in Ghana, and they are calling for a careful and coordinated implementation of Ghana's medicinal and industrial cannabis policy in 2026 to maximize economic benefits while safeguarding the public interest. Now, Mr. Mark Dako, he's the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, and he said the new year should mark a shift from policy aspirations to execution following the legalization of cannabis for medicinal and industrial use. Now, here's what he said. I quote, says that this is a year that calls not for speculation but for clarity of purpose, institutional readiness, and strategic patience. And he said this in a New Year message to stakeholders across the emerging industry. Now, Dr. Darko noted that while stakeholders were awaiting the finalization of fees, charges, and operational guidelines, foundational work in the sector had continued, and he cited progress in standard setting, capacity development, and intensified local and international engagement. And he also said a properly regulated cannabis industry could support pharmaceutical development, supply industrial raw materials, generate export earnings, and create skilled employment opportunities, particularly for youth and women. And he urged entrepreneurs, investors, farmers, and researchers to prioritize compliance, training, and alignment with global best practices rather than pursue short-term gain. So that is a story there in line with the cannabis industry, the emerging industry here in Ghana. So those are some of the stories. Exactly 7 o'clock, and that's how we wrap up on our news review segment. There's more news on our own portal, www.zedmultimedia.com. You can visit that platform and get a hold of some, or get to read some of the news that are on those platforms. So thank you very much for staying with us. Up next is a business news. Please don't go anywhere.
Petroleum consumers cautions against premature celebration of economic gains. Also, Abosokai dealers Guta recommit after constructive talks. And then other news, the Bank of Ghana issues new agency banking guidelines. These and many more stories will be coming your way shortly. To stay with us, I am Praise Bell Rosemont Labi. Thank you for staying with us, and now the news in detail. Starting off, the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, Mr. Duncan Amwa, is cautioning country's economic managers against premature celebrations despite recent signs of economic improvement. According to him, although the worst of the fiscal challenges may be over, Ghana is not yet out of danger. He describes the current economic situation as mixed bag, noting that while conditions have improved compared to the severe instability of the past 3 to 5 years, the country remains in a fragile recovery phase that demands strict fiscal discipline. Mr. Amwa warned against repeating past mistakes where temporary economic gains led to excessive government spending and early jubilations. He said it is not yet time for jubilation, stressing that celebrating too early would undermine the gains made so far. Moving on, investor demand for government treasury bills has soared, with bids exceeding the target by more than 20%. According to auction results from the Bank of Ghana, total bids accepted amounted to 9.1 billion Ghana cedis, well above the target of 7.5 billion Ghana cedis. The bulk came from the 91-day bill, which recorded over 6.5 billion Ghana cedis in tenders. The 182-day bill attracted about 1.06 billion Ghana cedis, while the 364-day bill saw 1.5 billion Ghana cedis tendered in. Meanwhile, interest rates moved modestly. The yield on the 91-day bill rose slightly to 11.17%, and the 182-day bill climbed to 12.61%. However, the 364-day bill eased to 12.90%. Away from that, the Bank of Ghana has introduced new agency banking guidelines aimed at strengthening the fight against money laundering, terrorism financing, and the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. The guidelines, which take immediate effect, apply to banks, specialized deposit-taking institutions, electronic money issuers, and payment service providers licensed to undertake agency banking. According to the bank, the rules are designed to help institutions develop effective risk-based compliance programs and ensure agents fully adhere to anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism laws. The framework covers corporate governance and know your customer requirement. Boards and management will be responsible for enforcing compliance, approving risk assessment, and ensuring agents follow strict KYC procedures. Moving on, the Abosokai Spare Parts Dealers Association has renewed its commitment to working with the Ghana Union of Traders Association (GUTA) following constructive talks aimed at resetting relations. The breakthrough, which came after a meeting on January 9, 2026, signaling a return of cooperative based on mutual respect, dialogue and shared goals. This follows the association's temporary withdrawal from some Guta activities in December 2025 over communication gaps and leadership recognition concerns. In a statement, Head of Communications Mr. Tichi Ado said discussions resolved key issues with both sides pledging closer collaboration. Chairman Henry Otri Jr. called for unity, stressing that trader challenges require cooperation to strengthen market and national development. Away from that, the Obuasi Carpenters Association has warned that the destruction of forest reserves through illegal mining, commonly known as galamsey, is threatening their livelihood. The concern was raised during the official launch of the association and the inauguration of its newly elected executives in the Ashanti region. Chairman of the association, Reverend Isaac Boateng, noted that the widespread deforestation has led to a serious shortage of timber, making it difficult for local carpenters to operate. He said while Obuasi-based carpenters struggle to access wood, people from outside the municipality are allegedly granted permission to harvest timber. Reverend Boateng appealed to authorities to prioritize local carpenters when awarding contracts and called on government to take urgent action against illegal mining activities destroying forest reserves. Members of the association also expressed concern about the increasing use of immature timber, which they say is unsuitable for carpentry and easily deteriorate. They warn that the future of the trade is at risk as many young people are abandoning carpentry to engage in galamsey activities. Away from that, economist and University of Ghana Business School lecturer Professor Godfred Bokpen says government deliberately chose reform-led growth in 2025 to stabilize the economy before pursuing job-rich expansion. Reviewing government's first year, he explained that high inflation, a weak cedi, rising interest rates, and unsustainable debt made aggressive reforms unavoidable. According to him, authorities prioritized claiming inflation and stabilizing the exchange rate, even though it meant slower short-term growth. Professor Bokpen noted that trade-offs, stressing that optimal growth and rapid disinflation cannot occur simultaneously. Government reforms backed by an IMF program focused on fiscal discipline, debt restructuring, and tight monetary policy. Inflation eased, the cedi strengthened, and investor confidence improved. Analysts say the reforms are laying foundations for private sector-led job creation growth through infrastructure investment, youth entrepreneurship, agricultural programs, and improved business conditions. And on to our last story for the bulletin, Dr. Steve Matthew, co-chair of the Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, is calling for the urgent creation of a minerals revenue management framework. He warns that soaring global gold prices without clear spending and saving rules could threaten Ghana's macroeconomic stability. According to Dr. Matthew, heavy foreign exchange inflows and Bank of Ghana intervention risks overheating the economy, strengthening the cedi and making local exports uncompetitive. He says a framework would help manage revenue volatility, protect future generations and guide responsible investment of mineral income. Dr. Matthew cautioned that failure to act could expose Ghana to the resource curse and Dutch disease where other sectors suffer. He proposes aligning the new system with the Petroleum Revenue Management Act to ensure transparency, discipline and long-term development from current gold boom for national growth and economic resilience and sustained competitiveness nationwide. And then business news. And this is where we draw the curtains on business news. But before I go, a recap of our top stories. Chamber of Petroleum Consumers has cautioned against premature celebration of economic gains. Also, Abosokan dealers, Guta, recommitted after constructive talks. And in other news, the Bank of Ghana has issued new agency banking guidelines. These and many more stories was brought to you from our studios here at number 6 Anyite Avenue, Legon Accra. For more news, you can log on to www.zmultimedia.com or you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook and X as ZFMGH and on TikTok and YouTube as Z Multimedia. Thank you for listening. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a good morning. My name once again is Praisebell Rosemond Labi.
You're tuned in to Zed 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
In our quest to redefine modern living, Lakeside Estate proudly unveils a new wave of innovation and elegance. Introducing the all-new Starfish, our redesigned 3-bedroom home crafted for today's modern family. Step into a space where functionality meets finesse. The Starfish features spacious layouts, sleek contemporary finishes, and sits within one of Accra's most secure and master-planned communities. Enjoy more living space, a walk-in closet in the master bedroom, a modern fitted kitchen, and generous room sizes, all designed with your family's comfort in mind. Whether you're settling down or making a smart investment, the Starfish offers refined elegance, outstanding value, and long-term peace of mind. With a generous plot size of 60 by 100 feet, there's plenty of room to grow, including ample parking space. Choose
stabilizing the cedi, the opportunities and the risks for businesses after BOG's $10 billion move. Now, let me start in Nigeria 2016. Now, in Nigeria 2016, oil collapsed, and because oil was Nigeria's main source of foreign exchange, dollars dried up almost overnight. And then the naira began to slide slightly. The inflation surged a bit. Importers who woke up every morning not knowing exactly what today's exchange rate would be. And I'm talking about 2016. It was a very tough time for Nigeria at the time. And manufacturers couldn't get dollars to actually import raw materials. Some halted production entirely. Airlines grounded aircraft because they couldn't pay for maintenance abroad, And small and medium businesses began to also shrink, and many simply shut down at the time. Now, just imagine running a business where the cost of your inputs changes before your goods even reach the shelves. And your contracts become guesses, where the profit margins evaporate between quotation and payment. That was exactly what was happening in Nigeria back then. Then in 2017, the Central Bank of Nigeria made a very bold move. What did it do? They stepped in forcefully. It injected billions of dollars into the market, and it created some special FX windows for investors, exporters, and also key sectors like manufacturing and aviation. Now, the goal was very simple. Their goal was to stabilize the currency, to calm the market, and also restore confidence. And something interesting happened at the time. The free fall that they were seeing at the time slowed. Businesses could plan again. Importers began pricing with more clarity. Investors returned. Production lines restarted. Confidence became fragile, but real actually came back, And so for a while, it felt like the storm had passed. But here's a part that matters to us this morning. That stability came with a lot of questions. What happens when the central bank steps back? What happens if oil prices fall again? What about businesses that never got access to those dollars? And what about the small players who watched from the sidelines? So some of the firms thrived, others remained stuck, and beneath a calm, the same structural weaknesses still existed. Now, why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because Ghana is standing at a very similar crossroad. The Bank of Ghana has just made a very bold move, injecting $10 billion into the economy. Now, the aim is clear. It is to stabilize the cedi, to reduce volatility and restore confidence. And that is a focus. And already, I believe you can feel the shift. Some importers are breathing again. Some businesses are recalculating prices. Some investors are watching more closely. And also, some leaders are asking that, is this a turning point? But of course, there are some other people who are also saying that they can't feel it at all. They can't feel anything in their pockets and nothing. The macroeconomic numbers, the macro numbers are looking very well, but when it comes to their pockets, they are not seeing it. But let me ask you something more personal this morning. If the cedi truly stabilizes for the next 6 to 12 months, what will you do with that window? If the cedi truly stabilizes for the next 6 to 12 months, what will you do with that window? Will you expand? Will you renegotiate contracts? Will you invest? Or will you assume that a calm is permanent? Because here's a quiet truth. Central bank interventions can buy time. They can restore confidence. They can reset expectations. But they are bridges and not destinations. The danger is actually not in the intervention. The danger is in making mistake. Is in mistaking temporary calm for permanent safety. And that is the danger. And that's exactly the tension we're trying to explore this morning. Now, on one hand, a more stable currency can unlock opportunities. Of course, we all know that it means that business can plan better, which is actually one of the things that business actually look forward to. Planning better, they can have more predictable pricing, they can have some renewed investment appetite, also stronger business confidence and all of that. But on the other hand, history warns us that stability driven mainly by central bank firepower can be fragile, because global shocks get to return, export earnings fluctuate, market sentiment actually shifts, and then it goes on and on. So the real question becomes, is this a moment to relax? Is this a moment to relax or to prepare? And that's a question we must ask ourselves, because smart businesses don't want to waste periods of calm. they actually use them. If you're a business owner, if you're smart in business, then when there is a period of calm, you actually use that period. What they do is that they reposition, they rethink exposure, they strengthen their foundations, and they build buffers for the next storm. And today we are not going to rush answers. I mean, we're not going to rush to answers. Instead, we're going to open a conversation that every business leader in Ghana should be a part of. What does this $10 billion move really mean for your business? What opportunities does it create? What risks still remain, beneath the surface? And how should business leaders think differently in this new phase? Those are the questions that we must ask ourselves. And in a few moments, I'll be joined by somebody who is well-versed in this particular area. He's going to help us unpack this. Of course, not in abstract economies, but in real business language. So whether you run a shop, a factory, a service firm, or a startup, or maybe a multinational operation, I want you to stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll get into the conversation very soon. We get to understand exactly what this means to us as business and how we can even take advantage, really. Take advantage of exactly what we are seeing in terms of our numbers, And so, because this conversation is not about the CD alone, and that's why I think you should join. It's about how you lead in uncertain times. It's about how you prepare when the waters look calm. It's about whether this moment becomes a turning point or just another pause for the next wave. And that's what we'll be talking about when we get into our roundtable discussion. Please don't go anywhere. We'll get into that shortly. But you can still join the conversation on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we're at ZFMGH, and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Get your family and friends to tune in and join the conversation. You can also send us a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019. So that will be all for our business brief segment this morning. Up next is Transport Today with Solomon Tetenati. When we are back, right after that, we're going to get into a market trend segment, and then we get into our roundtable discussion and have this all-important conversation. Please don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
This is the pre-boarding announcement for flight 372.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right, thank you very much. Solomon Tetenate is ready to bring us Transport Today this morning. Solomon, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Nee.
How are you doing, my brother?
By the grace of God, we are doing well.
Yes.
The Lord is taking care of us.
Absolutely, and we're grateful to Him for His goodness and His mercies. And we're back again for another week.
Yes. We are starting with energy and everything.
Absolutely. It's Monday. And so, Anyway, tell us what you have for us today.
All right. So it's time for Transport Today, and I'm taking you through the local flight schedules for today. We'll be looking at the traffic situation in town and also some stories actually trending in the aviation sector. But let me start with the flight schedules, and I'm starting with Passion Air, obviously. So Passion Air Accra to Kumasi morning schedules are 6:20 a.m., 8:50 a.m., and 11:20 a.m. Morning schedules for Passion Air Accra to Kumasi are 6:20 a.m., 8:50 a.m., and 11:20 a.m. And then afternoon schedules are 1:50 p.m. and 4:20 p.m., 1:50 p.m. and 4:20 p.m. And then the evening schedule is at 7:20 p.m. It takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Now, Accra to Takoradi Passion Air morning schedule is at 6:40 a.m. and then afternoon schedule is at 4:20 p.m. Morning schedule 6:20 4:20 a.m. and then afternoon schedule 4:20 p.m. It takes 50 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Sunyani has only one flight available for the day at 9:10 a.m. 9:10 a.m. and it takes 1 hour to get to your destination. Accra to Wa also has only one flight available for the day at 9:50 a.m. 9:50 a.m. and it takes 1 hour 40 minutes to get to your destination. Now Accra to Tamale, Passion Air morning schedule is at 6 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 12:20 p.m. and 4 p.m. Morning schedule 6 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 12:20 p.m. and 4 p.m. and it takes 1 hour 20 minutes to get to your destination. So these are the local flight schedules for Passion Air. Now let's look at Africa World Airlines, how their schedules also looks like today. So Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi morning schedules are 6:20 a.m., 8:40 a.m. and 9:40 a.m. 6:20 a.m., 8:40 a.m. and 9:40 a.m. Afternoon schedules are 12 p.m., 2:20 p.m., 3:10 p.m. and 4:40 p.m. 12 p.m., 2:20 p.m., 3:10 p.m. and 4:40 p.m. and then the evening schedule is at 7 p.m. and that's for Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi. It takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Takrady Africa World Airlines morning schedule is at 7:20 a.m. and then afternoon schedule is at 4:30 p.m. Morning schedule 7:20 a.m. and then afternoon schedule is at 4:30 p.m. and it takes 40 minutes as well to get to your destination. Now Accra to Tamale Africa World Airlines morning schedules are 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 12:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. 12:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. and it takes 1 hour to get to your destination. So these are the local flight schedules for both Passion Air and then Africa World Airlines. Now let's look at the traffic situation in town, and today I'm coming to you all the way from Achimota. There's traffic, massive traffic on that route, so you should take note of that. The traffic actually starts from where the mall is located at Mile 7 Park all the way to Achimota Old Station bus stop, so you should take note of that if you're at Achimota, or if you're from Domin Market, or if you're from Pukwase or Fankor heading to Achimota. You are going to experience massive traffic right from the mall, and that's Achimota Mall all the way to Achimota Old Station bus stop, so you should take note of that. And also Domin Market is also there's also traffic around that area as we speak, so you should also take note of that, especially where the GT Bank Domin branch is located at Domin Market. There's massive traffic around that area, so you should also take note of that. There's also traffic at where the Tasty Corner restaurant is located at the same Domin Market, so you should also take note of that if you are using that route. So that's the traffic situation for you around that area. Taifa, there's also traffic at Taifa where the Gulf fuel station is located at Taifa. There's massive traffic on that route, so you should also take note of that if you're at Taifa, around where the Goyal fuel station is located. There's traffic around that area that you need to also take note of that. And now on the Accra Kumasi Highway at where John Tay bus stop is, there's traffic around that area, so you should also take note of that at John Tay bus stop, heading towards the Book International Ministries. You're going to experience massive traffic around that area, so you should take note of that. And that's the route leading to Ofankor barrier, so that's for you around that area. So now let's come to Medina. There's traffic, massive traffic at Medina Zongo Junction, so you should also take note of that. If you're at Medina Zongo Junction, there's massive traffic as we speak if you are from Adenta heading towards Medina, so you should take note of that. And also Adenta barrier where the Action Chapel International Wonder is located, there's also traffic around that area that you need to take note of. So that's the traffic situation for you. Pantan West is also very busy at the moment heading towards Oyarifa. There's massive traffic around that area. The traffic starts from Woodcote Guest House all the way to Cheesy Pizza or Oyarifa branch, so you should also take note of that. If you are at Pantan West heading towards Oyarifa, you are going to experience massive traffic on that route. So that's the traffic situation for you. Now let's come to Accra Mall. There's traffic right from Accra Mall to Airport first, and so you should also take note of that if you're at Accra Mall heading towards Airport first, and that's the Liberation Road. You are going to experience massive traffic on that route at the moment, so you should take note of that. And also Airport Bypass Road is also very, very busy at the moment, and that's the route joining the Spintex Road, so you should also take note of that. If you want to use that route, you are going to experience traffic at the moment. So that's the traffic update for you today. Now let's look at some stories trending in the aviation sector. So Virgin Atlantic set new London Accra flight date, and so Virgin Atlantic has postponed its planned return to Accra market indefinitely, pushing back what was expected to be the airline's first service to Ghana in more than a decade. So the London-based carrier had been scheduled to launch daily flights between London and Accra from May 1, 2025 using a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. However, sources have confirmed that the airline has delayed the launch due to ongoing engine availability challenges affecting Boeing fleet, with at least one Boeing 787 currently unavailable. So the delay is linked to wider issues at Rolls-Royce, the manufacturer of the Trent 1000 engines that power Virgin Atlantic's Boeing 787 aircraft. So Rolls-Royce has been struggling to secure critical spare parts from suppliers, largely due to difficulties sourcing specialized electronic components and titanium, and so these constraints have lowered or has slowed maintenance cycles, affected fleet availability across multiple airlines, and limited the manufacturer's ability to meet both servicing and new demand. So that's coming from Virgin Atlantic. And so also Qatar Airways, the operator of the world's first and largest Starlink equipped wide-body fleet, has become the first carrier globally to enable Boeing 7878 with Starlink. So the airline has also equipped its entire Airbus A350 fleet within record-breaking 8 months in December 2025. So to date, Qatar Airways is operating 3 Dreamliners with the fastest Wi-Fi in the sky, bringing the total of its Starlink connected wide-body aircraft to nearly 120. So marking the fastest and most ambitious Starlink wide-body rollout program in the global aviation history. The airline is progressing at an unsurpassed pace. Within just 14 months, Qatar Airways has started and completed the Boeing 777 and Airbus A350 Starlink installation programs, and then expanded it to Boeing 787 Dreamliner. So this is also a big win for Qatar Airways, and these are the stories actually trending in the aviation sector this morning. Thank you so much, Ni, for having me.
All right, thank you very much, Solomon Tetenate, for bringing us transport today. Well, of course, the show continues. This is Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Trebi Hammond. We're going to take a quick music break. When we return, we get into other parts of the show. Please don't go anywhere. Enjoy Timmy 10. was Gospel Reggae Medley by Team Eternity Ghana. Well, I've got some good news for you. Now, this month of January, Z101.9 FM presents Furnish Your Craft, and this is a special initiative celebrating everyone in the interior furnishing and creative decor space. Now, are you a rag weaver? Are you a painter, a sculptor, or a clay artist? Do you create or sell artwork, decor pieces, dinnerware, or anything that beautifies a space? If you are someone like that, then this is your moment. We want to showcase your brand for you. And it's under this special initiative called Furnish Your Craft. Now, with Furnish Your Craft, we're giving you access to all our major platforms, Z101.9 FM, Z Online, and even the New Finder newspaper. Yes, all of them, every single one of those platforms for you. And all you need to do is to bring your PR materials and let our team, your unofficial chief marketing officers, talk about your products, tell your story, and amplify your craft to many people who are listening to us every day. So you can actually be a part of this. You can reach us on 0543 763460, 0543 763460, or 030-804-1019, 030-804-1019. You can reach us on those contacts for more information, or visit Z Multimedia Front Desk. We are located in East Legon at number 6 Anyete Avenue. You can pass by our office and then our studios here, and then you can get some more information on how to be a part of this Furnish Your Craft initiative as we try to tell your story and also push your brand and your business out there for the world to see you. And so when we say Furnish Your Craft, it says that let the world see what your hands can do. We want to make you we want to help you reach a lot more people, and to be a part of this. This is running throughout this month, and I want you to take part of that. All right. Also, if you've been praying and hoping and wishing to step into your dream home, then Lakeside Estates has got an exclusive offer for you. And with this offer, you can own your own house in just 2 years with no interest repayments. This offer gives you affordable payments, flexible home purchase plan, quality homes, and lifestyle choice. And you also get to choose from a variety of beautiful homes in any of Lakeside Hills clusters. So, of course, your future awaits. Just imagine living in a home you love with the freedom to invest in your dreams without the burden of interest. Now, as your CIMG Real Estate Company of the Year for the 4th time, we offer you hassle-free home acquisition. And all you have to do is to call us today on 020-477-5042, 020-477-5042, and then we give you the opportunity. We give you more information. You can also call us on 020-477-5040, 020-477-5040, or 050-1418622, 050-1418622, and then we also give you some more information. So don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Call us now to learn more and also schedule a tour of our available homes. Lakeside Estates, quality homes for all. So yes, those are what I have for you this morning. We have our market trend segment coming up shortly. Emmanuel Watson will be joining me for that conversation. Please don't go anywhere. We'll take another quick music break, and then when we return, we get into all of that right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Nature B. Hammond. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. interactive show, feel free to send me a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019, or you can call me on 03039566641 when we open the phone line, 03039566641, and then I give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment under any of those streams and we'll read them for you right here on the show. So if you have birthday wishes as well, you can send them to me. I'll do you the honors of reading them for you and wishing your loved ones for you on your behalf, actually. So please don't go anywhere. We're going to take another quick music break. When we return, Emmanuel Boateng will be joining us and we'll be talking about the treasury bill market. What exactly went on there? We'll try to understand a few of the things right there. Please don't go anywhere. FM, and we get into our market trend segment this morning. Now, this week's Treasury Bill auction tells an interesting story about investor behavior and also government borrowing. From what we see, investor interest actually surged, with total bids overshooting government's 7.5 billion Ghana cedis target by more than 20%. In all, about 9.1 billion Ghana cedis was accepted, with the bulk of the demand concentrated in the 91-day bill, which is often the case. We want to know what exactly explains this mix of oversubscription and rising short-term rates. What does it say about our liquidity in the system, investor expectations, and government's borrowing strategy? And Emmanuel Watson joins me to break it down this morning. He's our in-house economic analyst, and he joins me over the phone lines for this conversation this morning. We'll be looking at quite a number of things, and I hope that we're able to touch on as much as we can, because we have very limited time, but very important. You can still join the conversation. Feel free to send us your messages on 0544321019, 0544321019, and I'll read your messages for you this morning. And also, you can drop a comment on our live stream on Facebook at ZFMGH, and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment and I'll read them for you. Emmanuel Boateng is ready to have this conversation this morning. Iman, good morning.
Good morning, Travis.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well too. It's been a long time. Happy New Year.
Many happy returns.
How's your year going?
I think it's been good. As anticipated, the year is going very well. And all praise to God for the opportunity to see a new year and to live within it. I think that God has been good. It's been a good year.
All right. Okay. Anyway, so let's get into our conversation this morning. So we're seeing that that there was an oversubscription by, I think, about 20%. What does that tell us about liquidity in the banking system right now?
Thank you. Good morning to all our wonderful listeners and those who journeyed with us over the past 2 years through to now. And those who have been with us, this year, good morning to everyone. And I am happy to join you today to talk about the treasury bill market. What we are seeing, literally, is more of a fascinating tug of war between the government's need for cash, as they put out as their target for each week, or if you like, each period, and the market's demand for safety. So the market is not just willing to give out that cash that the government needs, but they are looking at how safe they can be as they give out money to the government. And when we look at the 20% of our subscription, as you ask, it tells us that there is a significant amount of idle cash in some sense that is sitting within our commercial bank.
Right.
However, they are a bit cautious about how that liquidity is used. They are very careful about it, Banks have money, but they are hesitant to push that money into the broader economy through private loans, etc., etc. Instead, they are flooding the T-bill market because it is the most liquid and secure place right now for you to store your values. And that is why we see the oversubscription. And I'm particularly not surprised, especially against the backdrop of the performance of our economy, against the backdrop of, as it were, how things are moving right now.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly surprised that banks have that amount of money to inject it into the T-bill market to be able to make some return in the short run. After all, they are guaranteed that after 91 days, after 182 days, after 364 days, they are going to get back their money plus the interest on that money. Loans are a bit risky for them now, and so we see them do less of that, but the bulk of their liquidity is pushed into the treasury market.
I see. Let's talk about 91-day bill consistently attracts the bulk of demand compared to 182-day and also 364-day instruments. Why did that happen, or why does that continue to happen consistently?
Well, I think generally investors are trying to play it safe. Generally, investors are trying to play it safe, by putting 6.54 billion Ghana cedis into the 91-day bill. They are practicing what I would otherwise call duration management. You see, in finance, risk is tied to time, to maturity. The longer it takes for a financial asset to mature, for an investment to mature, then the higher the risk. The shorter it takes, the lower the risk. And so if you have locked up funds into an instrument, an investment portfolio, if you've locked up your funds into something that matures and gives you interest, you would testify to the fact that the longer it takes, the higher the uncertainty and subsequently the risk. And so you are scared. So after 1 year, am I still going to get back my money? But if it is just 91 days, they're like, 91 days there in Cheba, And so that is what I see. They want to keep their money on a short leash so they can reinvest it quickly if interest rates soar up, you see, even higher after that 91 day. And it is not different from what we have seen from the Ghanaian or those who invest in the treasury market over the past periods. You would notice that they have an appetite for the short-term instruments relative to the longer-term investment. And I remember sometime last year, early in the early part of last year, we had an interesting conversation where we profiled the investors across some African countries. And one of the things that we highlighted was the fact that Ghanaians are risk-averse investors. They prefer investments that are short-term to long-term investment. They prefer investments that they can recoup their investments in a short while. And I think this evidence, as it were, supports that earlier finding that we had. And I am particularly not surprised. There is a lack of appetite for long-term commitment, and there is more appetite for a short-term commitment. And explains why the 91-day bill attracted a bulk of demand. And almost every single auction result, we see the 91-day bill attracting the most significant investment from the investors.
I see. But how do we also even explain the paradox of strong investor appetite alongside rising short-term yields?
Thank you. Typically, high demand drives rates down. Interest rates come down as demand for a particular bill goes up. But I think here, the government's hunger for cash actually matches or in some sense even exceeds the investors' appetite. You see, the government accepted nearly everything that was tendered to be able to meet their fiscal obligations. And investors demanded a risk premium to be able to keep lending. And that is priced. See that? And that led to the unusual scenario where we have plenty of buyers, but at a higher cost to the state. And I think that explains the paradox. It is one thing if we see a lot of cash flowing in and the government rejecting some of those bids, as we have seen in some time past. And it's another thing if all of it are accepted, meaning that, government really needs the money. I don't want to say irrespective of the cost it comes to them. No, that's not what I want to say. But the point is that they need the money to the extent that they are willing to, as it were, sell the bills to the investors at the price that the holders or the investors are asking for. And that is why we see what we are seeing. That is where, that is in contrast with normal finance theory.
I see. But does this auction signal some renewed confidence in government securities, or you think it's simply a lack of alternative safe investments?
You give me some interesting multiple choice to choose from. It's been a while I saw a multiple choice. A multiple choice question. I think that it is more of a fight to safety. In an environment where the stock market is volatile, I know inflation is low, right? Now inflation, the rate of increase in prices is low generally. But let's look at our history. Inflation almost always eats away our cash, you see. Government T-bills for a long time in this country has remained the only risk-free asset available on the Ghanaian financial market. The T-bill has remained the only risk-free asset available. So investors aren't necessarily more confident in the economy. I use that carefully. They just don't see any better place to hide their capital. And that alludes to the second option that we gave me. If there is a lack of alternative safe investment, that is what I've been arguing for. So It's not necessarily an issue of strengthened confidence in the Ghanaian economy. It's more of lack of alternatives. And I'm stuck with the T-bill market because it is the one that is offering me the risk-free advantage that other financial assets do not offer me. Look at our stock market, quite volatile. I know now it's gaining some momentum, but what other alternatives are there? The fixed deposits, what rates are they offering? Of course, there are mutual funds and the like. How well do our Ghanaian investors know about all of it to be able to invest in them? So I lean more towards your latter alternative, which is the fact that there's a lack of alternative safe investment. And given the conditions that are currently prevailing, investors rather would want to keep their eggs in the treasury bill basket.
I see. So it's more of they looking for something. I mean, a safe investment to put to invest. I mean, a safe place to put their money in, basically.
Precisely so. It's like somebody trusting in God.
I see. Right, but what does the pattern of bids reveal about investor expectations as well? I mean, especially on interest rates and inflation in the coming months.
I think that the heavy concentration in the 91-day bill tells us investors expect inflation to remain sticky. I mean, they don't think inflation is going to go up and like it's not just sticky. For me, you remember I told you last year that inflation is going to go down
yeah.
to the end of the year. I mean, you can see, if you see the signs, if the clouds start forming, nobody should tell you it's likely to rain. You shouldn't expect a sunshine when the clouds are forming, You shouldn't expect a safe drive when the one driving the car is fully drunk and nothing is working. You should expect to see yourself at the other side of life, where you are actually not alive. You see, so generally, the heavy concentration in the 91-day bill tells us investors expect inflation to remain sticky. Right. They aren't betting on a rapid drop in prices. I mean, because this year we are going to be marking ourselves against the performance last year. And you remember how we were saying that you were comparing yourself to a base that was not too good. And so it's easier for you to say, or for things to correct, rather than comparing yourself to a strong performance. When the performance is quite stellar, then you need to put in some much more work. And investors are aware of that. What is the outlook going to be? And their participation in the T-bill market gives us a certain signal about that, you see. So they are staying short-term to ensure that they don't get locked into low rate if the Bank of Ghana has to hike the policy rate again soon. What if the policy rate is to go up soon? And I saw some warnings from one of the, I I don't really remember about if the further drop in the policy rate, what it could do to our economy and all of that. We are all watching. This is January. I think there will be a multi-policy committee meeting this month. Want to see what is going to happen. But generally, you can see how comfortable I am with how things are going. And I just have a few concerns. But generally, the way things are going, if you look at what the investors are doing, yes, I can make the argument that they don't expect inflation to fall very quickly. On the other hand, what I also see is that what is going to be the next move of the central bank, the Monetary Policy Committee, in terms of the policy rate. Investors are not too certain on that as well. If we are certain on the next move, it tells us what to do. Because if your next move is to move it up, then why should I lock in a lot of funds at a lower rate now when the rate could be higher next year? Yeah.
I can understand. So also, I want to know why did the yields rise on 91-day and 182-day bills, but fall on the 364-day bill? I hope you don't ask me to go ask the Bank of Ghana. What does that say about the yield curve, really?
It's indicative of a flattening yield curve. You know, it indicates a flattening yield curve.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
So the rise in short-term rates is a reflection of immediate pressure and inflation fears. You see, that slight 3 basis points drop in the 364 days suggests that investors believe that a year from now, the economy might stabilize or rates might start a slow descent. Very, very important. So it's that kind of thing. Don't forget the 364-day bill is 1 year. So what we see about it is what investors' expectations are in the year to come. So largely, that is what it's about. So for me, I think that the yield curve is flattening. And it is so because there is immediate pressure and inflation fears in the short term. But in the long term, the expectation is that the economy might stabilize.
So I'm also thinking that the reason why maybe that is happening is because I mean the whole 1 year is unpredictable. Really, could that be the reason? I mean, predicting that far.
Yes, it is unpredictable, but I think that it's even much more difficult predicting the next 3 months.
Really?
Especially in terms of inflation expectations.
Okay.
Because naturally, we would all agree that what happens in the next 3 months has implications for what will happen in the next 1 year. So I'm looking at the immediate fears. So what are the immediate fears? Let's lock in more funds now. Rates are dropping in the 1 year bill. I mean, it's not too difficult. You see, if you lock in a lot of funds in 364 today, and 1 year comes and the interest rate after 1 year is better than what you did today, you'll notice that, why didn't I rather wait or something of a kind? Or why didn't I? It's like that. And typically, when you look at the numbers, you notice that the 364-day bill doesn't really attract a lot of funds like that. You see it attracting a lot of funds if there is absolute certainty and a significant guarantee on the long-term performance of our economy.
Okay.
Otherwise, investors have a high level of skepticism about the performance of that particular bill.
Okay. But do you think government is becoming more strategic in accepting bids? I mean, even when the auctions are oversubscribed?
Please take that again.
So I'm asking do you think government is becoming more strategic in accepting bids?
Notice that for the 364-day bill, for instance, they accepted 1.4 billion out of 1.5 billion that was tendered.
Yeah.
And by rejecting some of the bids, they are trying to cap the interest rate on long-term debt to prevent their future interest payment bill from, we call it like a spiral kind of thing. So they are preventing their future interest payments from spiraling out of control. So you can explain it from that point of view.
Okay. So they are being more strategic. So how does, maybe my last but one question to you because of our time, how does this result compare with the recent undersubscribed auctions? And what has changed in the market?
Well, I will just give a very simple answer, maybe quite interesting one. I think we have moved from a period of wait and see. You know, in the Bible, we have something like come and see, how Jesus met his disciples and all of that. But we've moved from a period of wait and see to a period of active participation. Previously, investors stayed away due to debt restructuring fears and so many things in the market. Now, with rates hovering around 11 to 12%, maybe 10 to 12, the real return has become attractive enough for institutional investors to return to the tables. There's active participation. Okay. Unlike wait and see, where we are not too sure, we want to wait to see the next move and then we'll try and invest around that.
Yeah, because I remember that at the beginning of, last year and somewhere maybe towards even the end. Okay, I think it was towards the end that we began to see some oversubscription, but it was fluctuating throughout the year. And yes, and we saw that, there were times that you oversubscribe, and then sometimes there were some under subscriptions. And I remember one of the conversations we had, you were pointing out to the fact that simply because the government doesn't raise their targets too high, and that's how come they are able to. So I realized that at the time, a lot of investors were actually being quite careful and all of that. But from what you're saying, they've gotten to that point where they can actually fully come in, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So maybe finally, so what impact could this level of government borrowing have on the private sector credit?
Thank you. I think that it is the usual or the classic crowding out effect. You see, when the government mops up 9.1 billion Ghana cedis as a go, there is less money left for our local manufacturers, for our small business owners, and so on and so forth. So as long as the government is willing to pay these rates, banks have no incentive to lend to the private sector. And in this case, if you need to own a business, and I also do, they don't have any incentive, the banks don't have any incentive to lend to you and I. Because in any case, when they estimate the risk levels between you and I as against the government, and what the government is offering them as against the interest we pay on their loan, they are better off giving the money to the government than to us. 9.1 billion Ghana cedis going to the government in just one auction. That is 1 week. That is a lot of money. It crowds out the private sector.
Right. Okay. Anyway, Ima, so maybe your final words and then we can go because our time is up.
All right. Thank you. I think that it's been great having this conversation. This is our first one in the year. I just hope that in the coming days we'll be able to have some exciting things. I see a lot of exciting things happening. Yesterday, I saw that the government of Ghana has paid some legacy debts related to energy. I've seen some bond payments in recent times. I'm seeing a number of things happening. I'm sure we'll get into those conversations pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So, Ima, thank you very much for your time. I'm really grateful that you joined me this morning for this conversation. Hopefully, we get to speak some more tomorrow.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. So, do enjoy the rest of your day. So, that was Emmanuel Boating, our in-house economic analyst, and he joined me this morning. We talked about the treasury bill market and exactly what is happening there and what that actually tells us. We spoke about the yields. We also talked about the investor confidence in that particular space, and even why the 91-day bill gets more investors than the 182 and the 364-day bills, and also some other things. If you miss any part of this conversation, you can visit our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and X at ZFMGH, and also on YouTube and TikTok at Z Multimedia. You can visit those platforms and you can play the recording back. So that will be all for our market trend segment this morning. We're going to get into our roundtable discussion, and like I said earlier today, we're talking about a $10 billion injection that the BOJ did, put into the economy, just so that we can be able to, put into the forex market really to actually aid CD stability. We want to have a conversation on that, looking at it broadly, and also its impact on businesses and how business can even prepare themselves to be able to take advantage of this, what they need to do in times like this. And it's a very important conversation. I believe that if you're a business owner, then you want to stick and stay for this conversation. If you are not, and you know any business owner, you can just share the link with them. On Facebook, we're at ZFMGH, and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. We're streaming live on those platforms, and it's a very interactive show. Feel free to send me a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019, and I will read your messages for you. You can also call us on 0303956641, 0303956641 when we open the phone lines, and we give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. We'll take a quick music break, and when we return, my guest joins me for this conversation right here on the show. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. discussion for the day. And today we're talking about something that touches every business, whether big or small, across the country. And we're talking about the cedi. Now, the Bank of Ghana recently made a very bold move, injecting about $10 billion into the economy to stabilize the currency, curb volatility, and also restore confidence. But what does this mean for your business? Will this actually bring real opportunities for growth, or are there some risks that are lurking beneath the surface? And how should importers, exporters, and investors rethink their strategies in this new environment? And most importantly, how can businesses use this moment to prepare for the next wave of uncertainty or certainty? Well, and that's exactly what we are trying to explore this morning right here on the show. And I am joined in studio by somebody that I think I like so much. He's very good, and he's been he's very, very knowledgeable. Last week he gave me a very good show, and I hope that he does today as well. His name is John. His name is John Che. He is a financial analyst, and he joins me this morning for this conversation. We're going to look at the opportunities, the risks, and also the smart moves businesses can make now. John, welcome back to the Business Breakfast on Zed.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Thank you very much for also making time to join us. So this morning we're talking about the $10 billion injection by the Bank of Ghana. First of all, I've seen quite a number of people criticize it, but some people actually support. Where do you stand?
Okay, personally, I support the move. And the reason is that, if you look at, the history, you realize that most often we don't get enough, exports proceeds to finance our imports. And normally these things lead to a lot of speculation. And before Gold Board came into scene, the forest bureaus were managing our currencies, and they try to hoard and do a whole lot of things. But we are seeing Bank of Ghana in this moment actively playing a key role, making sure that anytime importers need money, those monies are available. And you realize that they even announced it before, they engage in the intervention.
Did they announce it?
Yes. So most of what they do, I think even for genuine intervention, they have announced it already.
Okay.
Just to put away any kind of speculation. Because most often, exchange rate is largely driven by speculation. So once you announce it and people knows there's going to be enough money for us for our imports, there's no rush for dollars. And that will stabilize our currency. So it's a good move. As far as we are getting a lot of reserves, we are not seeing the reserves depleting. We are adding more. We are, adding more to our gold reserves. Definitely, what is the purpose of, central bank? To make sure prices stabilize. That's one key function of them, and for exchange rate to also stabilize. So if there's no, huge cost to do this intervention, then personally I support this move.
But why do you think people criticize it? Because I've seen quite a number of people, some known economists actually making it feel like, government is just injecting money into the forex market and all of that.
Okay, so the issue is that most often, central bank intervention is seen as artificial engineering of the currency. And most people feel like it will not be sustainable over the long term. You can't do this, all the time, especially assuming maybe gold price crash now, the economy is in trouble and we are not going to get enough money from our reserves. Then what happens? So they are scared that if you continue to engage in this, they get to a point where if you don't have enough to pump into the economy, then the economy will expose. So it's a good fears to have.
Okay.
Do you get? But personally, I believe that as they are doing this intervention, I'm sure they're also looking at the long term. I listened to the governor recently, and he mentioned that this is just a way to make the market calm, but they are thinking about permanency of some of these interventions. And I believe once, as far as exchange rate is concerned, it's about trade. So once we are doing this, at least to support the current trade system, we need to look at the long term where we increase our exports, find a way to reduce our imports, and things will be better for us. Yes.
Is it that easy?
It's not that easy because, we see one thing about, economy is that businesses also rely on imports for survival. So once we are trying to, substitute exports for imports, there will be a lot of fight back. But the issue is that we should look at the long term. I'm sure, there's a way to engage these importers to understand that it's not always about imports. You can also do things here. Then you bring them in. And then once they realize that the cedi is not too fluctuating, and I mean, there's no benefit of doing a lot of imports, they will also shift and then maybe find a way to also go into exports.
But that's a long-term thing.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, so $10 billion US. How significant is that in stabilizing our currency?
Yes, it is very significant, because if you look at our whole GDP, it's around $83 billion, which means that the 10 billion we are pumping in 1 year is just about 12% of our GDP. So it's huge. But the issue is that, most often you realize that, I mean, the money we get from exports normally delays. And as a result, when the importers need foreign currencies, they struggle a bit. And that has led to a lot of fluctuation in our currency. Now that, I mean, central bank is in to support, I mean, these foreign exchange transactions, I'm sure, even though it's significant enough, because 12% is huge, okay, but we are not seeing, as far as we are not seeing depletion of our international reserves, and we are even actually seeing increments. I mean, December, and then they announced that we have reached a milestone we have not gotten there before, and we have a lot of gold reserves now. So I don't think there's a lot of, I mean, issues to worry about. It is more about looking at, I mean, just intervention will not, I mean, support it over a long period of time. We just need to also find a way to diversify so that at the end of the day, the exports can cushion our imports.
But how does this compare to previous interventions, if any?
Right. So, I mean, previous years too, you have seen a lot of government intervention. But I think what I'm seeing here is that there's a lot of confidence in the economy. Okay, you could see, and you will see that, I mean, we are doing things right, especially when it comes to expenditure management, when it comes to a whole lot of things. So it's not just about the intervention that is driving the exchange rate, because we have done it before and still the cedi was depreciating. Now, if you look at even a lot of projections by the international organization, they were projecting that the cedi will actually depreciate by the time the year ends to 15 cedis and so. But we have been able to beat that, where we have achieve about 50% appreciation of the cedi. So clearly, it's not just about the intervention that is making this happen. Yesterday the finance minister also announced that they are paying some energy sector debt. So all these things are moving a lot of confidence. And once you are having that confidence in the economy, the international investors will not be in a hurry to sell their instruments once the year comes to an end. They see things moving well. And now you could see that there's no motivation of, disposing of your investment, because the cedi has strengthened. So why will you do that? You even want to. So I feel like investors are also waiting, and all that is culminating into what we're experiencing now. So it's not just the usual, way that we just intervene and at the end things come back. I'm seeing very active and a lot of collaboration between Bank of Ghana, Finance Ministry, and you see the fiscal side supporting the monetary side. So it's making the monetary policy work effectively. If maybe all these things were happening and we are seeing a lot of payments, unnecessary payments going on, can you still have the shocks that we experienced previous years? But I feel we are doing something right and we are moving the right way.
You know, when I hear when I hear some economists talk about the fact that they currently see the fiscal side supporting the monetary side and vice versa and all of that, I begin to ask myself, wasn't that what was happening previously?
So you see, normally you see the fiscal side is more about taxation, expenditure management, borrowings and the rest. So once you see the fiscal side doing the right things, not paying unnecessary bills. In fact, contracts are, the contract they are signing are not just, things of paying things that will not bring anything to the economy. You see, it allows the monetary side to work on whatever they need to also do to make the economy work. So, for example, you realize that, all the interventions that they are doing, we are not seeing them using that to maybe sign new foreign contracts, pay debt and a whole lot of things. The intervention is basically giving money to maybe the importers, not really to government to be paying his bills and the rest, but giving to the market to, stabilize the cedi. So in that case, you are not going to see those things that happened in the past. So basically, that is what is happening now.
All right. Now, there are a section of people who think that this particular move, this $10 billion US move, doesn't reflect a lasting. Some people actually think it reflects a lasting strategy for currency stability, but some other people also think it's just something temporary, some short-term psychological boost for businesses and investors. Where do you stand in that?
All right. So you see, most often central bank intervention is not really the solution, because when it comes to foreign exchange issues, it's more about trade. If we're not trading with any other country, I don't think our city will be moving the way it is moving. Now, what we are doing is that we are actually just giving money to importers and all those who transact in foreign, so that like there will not be any bad speculation and a whole lot of. So that's what we are doing currently. But the issue is that we are not, even though we are generating fundraisers from the gold board, transactions, giving us a lot of dollars. The issue is, what if something happened? Exactly. I don't think gold will always be there. We have, if someone will go to history and say, "Oh, go Ghana," we will always get the gold, so there's no need to worry. And also, even gold price can crash.
That's true.
So when those things happen, you realize that these interventions will not work anymore. So that's why I'm saying that we must see this as a temporary measure, whilst looking at the permanent solutions to our trade flows.
Okay.
So, for example, whatever, we import a lot, and as a result, the import bill is too much over export. You find a way to substitute those ones, and then also, increase our exports. So that in the long run, there's no need for central bank intervention,
right?
Because the whole market is reading the whole situation as central bank playing key role in managing the currency, and that's what IMF has even warned, and a whole lot of institutions have warned against. Do you get? So we shouldn't see this as we can do this all the time. So let's relax. We always pump money into the economy. Dollars into the economy to stabilize the city. We need to look at trade flows and find a way of increasing exports and reducing imports. So that will bring, long-lasting impact on the city stability.
Right. But are there risks that businesses may misinterpret this temporary calm as a permanent stability?
Yes. So you could see that there's also an aspect where Gold Board is promoting that as far as they exist, we are going to get enough. And normally we see them publishing information to suggest that we don't need to worry. But you see, in terms of general economy, anything can happen.
Right.
Especially if there's crisis, what happens? There could be times that maybe even you exporting gold may not be possible. Or maybe the price has dropped to a situation where it's not profitable again. You are not going to continue doing that.
Right.
I guess. So we can't rely always, if we will be able to, do the gold board issue to translate into, adding value instead of just exporting the gold and just getting foreign reserve. But actually, do industries, bring industries that will process the gold for us to get more earnings from that. Then maybe that can bring stability.
Okay.
But the central bank intervention cannot be the permanent solution to our city stability problems.
Okay.
Do you get it? So we need to look at, the long term, fix our trade balance, and I'm sure that will help us in the long run.
Right. Okay. But if I get you well, so it means that this is not sustainable.
Yes.
It's
over
not.
The long
over the long
time.
term. Yes. Right. So what are the things that our leaders, business leaders, because our platform is actually directed to the business community. So what are the signs that they should look at to actually gauge whether this is stable or not?
Okay. So in terms of, businesses, what they need to do is that even though every communication coming out of government is showing that this can be sustained, but they have to look at it from, how they also struggle to even get the dollars. Even though, I think recently we had a conversation with a bank and they were complaining a little bit about too much intervention from the Bank of Ghana. So what it means is that, you don't have to just look at the thing and feel like there's stability, so there's nothing to do. So you're just going to relax and wait for crisis to happen. You need to plan ahead. You need to know that as far as Ghana is concerned, history does not suggest that some of these things can be everlasting. So even now, you start planning. Give all the scenarios, the worst case scenarios, the normal scenarios, and the best scenarios, and see how you can manage your cash flows. So that no matter how the city will travel, you are cushioning against.
Right.
This is the point where maybe we need to even look at hedging strategies. In Ghana here, we don't do a lot of hedging. We just move. Whatever happens, we face it. You can decide to do hedging. Not get a lot of dollars now, but now, there's communication coming from the presidency and a whole lot of to say that the city will be stabilized at 10. It's now 10.
Yeah.
So whatever, you can look at a 1 year plan and see how you can cushion yourself, get the billions somewhere, so that when anything happens, you are safe.
You are safe.
So personally, I feel like, don't relax. Don't feel like, oh, the city is going to be like this forever. No, it's not going to happen. By all means, there will be fluctuations. So once the fluctuation is good for you now, take advantage of it. Find a way. If you have to even save in foreign currency, you have to do that. I mean, you can have a monthly savings. So for me, maybe every month I will save $100,000, so that, I mean, whatever happens, you can get that benefit to offset any risks that will happen in the future.
Right. So if you're saying that there's going to be fluctuations, I mean, everybody should anticipate that anyway.
Yeah.
How quickly could the situation, change?
Okay.
You know, I mean, should any global or domestic shocks occur?
So, you know, most often there are some cyclical seasons where there's heavy demand for dollars, especially from multinational companies.
Yeah.
The year has ended. Some of the companies need to repatriate profit to their parent companies. So you realize that mostly around March, April, you see a lot of demand, I mean, for dollars by these multinational companies. And most often their demands are huge. So in those situations, you know, the city can fluctuate a bit. Just that, you know, central bank says we have enough reserves. So even if it happens, you will intervene. But it doesn't mean that you should sit there. So mostly March, April, you see the city, I mean, moving a lot because multinational need to repatriate profit to their parent company. And you know, this Talu Oil and those people, huge sums of dollars they will need during that time.
Right.
So around March, April, anything can happen. If we see stability, that's good. But anything can happen where we need to prepare for that as far as businesses are concerned. That's why I was suggesting that now that, I mean, the CD is, I mean, at a lower rate, find a way of saving into a dollar account. Not too much, but I mean, you can look at your demands for the next 6 months and find a way to, I mean, save towards that, so that whatever happens, it will be to your advantage.
Right, but won't the Bank of Ghana come for your head asking people to save in dollars?
No. So that's what I'm trying to say, that you are using that as a hedging strategy. Okay. So it's not like, you know, mostly is the high demand for that normally translates into, I mean, fluctuations. So you can, I mean, plan where you are doing that in a bit, not putting a lot of pressure. Because if you also put a lot of pressure, the city will start depreciating. And in fact, whatever we are discussing, you will not benefit from it. Do you get it? But you don't, you know, if we were in a country where maybe they have these derivatives, where people can trade in, where you can do 3 months forward, 6 months forward, and all those things. I mean, Bank of Ghana was doing that in the past.
Yeah.
I think recently they are not really doing that. Okay, so if you had that, businesses can do that. But once we don't have those options, the only thing we can do is to find a way to save, I mean, some money, so that when those situations happen, we have that money to, I mean, cater for our risk.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, let me just announce the phone lines in case anybody's listening to us and they want to make a comment or join the conversation. If you want to join the conversation, you are free to do so. This morning we're talking about stabilizing the city, and, you know, the opportunities and the risks for businesses after the Bank of Ghana's $10 billion US move or injection into the forex market. And it's a very important conversation for the business community, because you need some of these things to be able to plan and prepare ahead. And that's why we're having this conversation this morning. Feel free to send your questions, your comments, or your suggestions to 0544321019, 0544321019, and I'll read them for you. And also, you can call us on 0303956641, 0303956641, and we give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment and we'll read them for you as well. My guest is John Che. He's a financial analyst. He's been looking at the numbers. He's been looking exactly what is going on in terms of monetary and also the fiscal side of things. And he's giving us a lot of insights into what you can do as a business. But this time we're going to focus more on the business impacts, really. And he's going to share his thoughts on that as well. John, let's continue the conversation. So what immediate changes should businesses expect? Maybe in pricing and imports, and cost planning under a more stable city?
All right. So I think for importers, I think what is happening is good for them. I mean, now if you need dollars, you don't need to exchange a lot of cedis for dollars. So for importers, I think they are very happy what is happening, right? And for them to, because the city is never going to be the same, they have to find a way to, pushing themselves against any risks, especially when the rate is very low at this point. Now, for exporters, the issue with exporters is that they are really suffering from what is happening, because as far as your CD has appreciated by 50% over just 1 year, it will make your, products more expensive as far as the international trade is concerned. Okay, if you look at even cocoa board, for example, you realize that they are really struggling because, they have promised a particular price, and one, the cocoa price has fallen, and two, CD is also rising. So definitely they are really experiencing the heat. And there are some exporters that they normally get loans to do their business. So if they are getting lower rates when they export, it's really going to affect them. So exporters are really struggling with what is happening. Exporters become happy when the city is rather depreciating, but we are seeing the other way around. But because Ghana normally we are import dependent, it's good for us generally. That's why we are seeing even inflation going down and things are really working. There are some countries like Japan, they're experiencing huge depreciation of their currency. Yes, if their currency has fallen over 50%. But they are happy because they are export-driven companies, so it's even benefiting them, especially with Donald Trump, tariffs and all that. They are, even China, intentionally even devalue their currency. So for them, they enjoy depreciation because they can export more. Do you get it? And because they can export in large quantities, they are happy with what is happening. But us, because it's the other way around, maybe you don't really, focus more on exports. We are not really feeling the heat. Are you getting it? But three exporters need to be calm. Maybe they need more new strategy to enhance their export, especially when our exports have become very expensive in the international arena. So maybe they have to also find a way to diversify into other markets. That is not about dollars, because clearly it's the dollar that we are more focused on. But if you do China and other countries, still they can make gains from what is happening. If you look at even the oil and gas sector, me too, in terms of pricing, you realize that fuel has now reduced to about 10 cedis. Some of the fuel stations are selling for 10 cedis, 50 because of the stability. So it's helping, certain businesses. Exporters are the only ones, suffering from what is happening.
And I think that's why the president, even from the beginning, had to tell them, talk about when the city was
because they felt even go below 10 and that will even keep them out of business. So he has to give them assurance that we will never go 10. So we just be calm.
And it's actually
there. Exactly. It has been there for the whole year. So for businesses, you see, city stabilization, as far as citizens are concerned, we are happy because at least it will reduce our the price of goods and services, cost of living will go down. But they also benefit because they're also citizens, so their cost of living to go down. So everyone benefits. In fact, when the whole economy is performing well, everyone benefits, whether you are exporter or importer. So we are all happy. I'm sure the exporters even are happy with the current situation, even though they are not getting much from their exports.
But the only time it gets to affect them is when they get into their business side of things.
Exactly.
Right?
So when exporters. For exporters. Exactly.
Okay, so maybe are there some particular sectors or product types that stand to gain the most, from this predictability?
Yes. So you see, in business settings, predictability is the most important aspect because it helps you plan, it helps you manage your cash flows very well and all that. So you see, even exporters, for example, if we know city is going to stabilize at 10 cities for the next 10 months, you can plan and know how to diversify your exports to different countries.
Right.
So basically, in fact, every industry, every sector tends to benefit when the city stabilize like this, because then there will be no I mean, there will be less fluctuations in a lot of things, and you can predict demand. You can predict all those kind of stuff. Right. So what it means is that it makes you more comfortable in the decisions that you make. And I think I'm seeing Bank of Ghana also working, I mean, seriously to reduce interest rate. Once that goes down and the cost of credit also becomes, I mean, cheaper, everybody can now even borrow money to do business. And once they can, I mean, predict what happens in the next 6 months, 7 months, they can go into, I mean, profitable businesses that they feel things are stabilized now. So, I mean, we can gain much from that sector. So, personally, I feel every sector benefits from what is happening, especially when, I mean, the whole economy is in this stability mode.
I see, but will the currency stabilization, of course, I think we've seen it actually affect our inflationary I mean, pressure. We've seen it ease
coming
a bit.
down.
Yes. Or are there some deeper structural challenges that businesses still need to navigate?
So you see, one thing I've realized is that if you look at all the numbers, most of them are being engineered to achieve a particular objective.
Right.
So, for example, you realize that when interest rates coming down was an active decision by the finance minister to bring it down. So there are a lot of things that have been artificially engineered to achieve a particular macroeconomic objective.
Okay.
So now what happens is that we now need to work on the structural side, because there have not been serious changes in the structural side. When it comes to our exports dynamics, when it comes to our imports dynamics, we have not changed much about it. Do you get it? So, but you see, the country has gone through a hell of, I mean, economic problems. So there was a need for this stability, and there was a need for this confidence. But once we have achieved this confidence, we have achieved this stability, the next thing is to now change our structure, I mean, the whole structure of the economy, where it's not working. And personally, I feel like, even if possible, central bank must take active role in supporting certain sectors of the economy that can engineer growth.
Like which
so,
sectors?
For example, you can decide to engage banks to give maybe loans at a very affordable rate for certain sectors, and maybe tourism, like the CSOs, the SOEs that are performing well, like the Ghana Publishing Company. You help them expand. Companies like Tor, you help them expand. Companies like VRA, Electricity Company of Ghana, places that can bring a lot of gains, I mean, in terms of profit. You come in, support them with working capital to engineer growth in those sectors. Once we engineer growth in those sectors, and we are seeing VRA now announcing profit, we are seeing Electricity Company of Ghana announcing profit, Ghana Water Company announcing profit, you realize that now they can also expand, and then tourism sectors to doing well. Then the whole growth now, change from your active intervention to the real economic growth. And that is where we will see that we have arrived. But for now, we have not really arrived. We are just trying to bring the confidence back. The confidence is needed, because that's what will bring the investors into the country. Once they see things are working, they'll bring their money. And those monies can now be invested in hot sectors that can grow the economy. So basically, that's my view.
Okay, we'll talk about investments very soon. But is it time? Is it time for us to begin to focus on the structural issues? And I'm asking that because I want to know whether we are stable enough, or there's still some more things we have to do about stability before we move.
I think it's a very good question.
Thank you.
Very good question. Okay, so if you look at what is happening now, it's just 1 year this government came into office. Maybe we should give it the next 6 months. Because you see, most often when you come anew, I mean, when MPP government came in 2017, we also saw stability within the 1 year.
The first year.
But after the first and second year, then things begin to change. We need to look at how the government is going to go about their things for the next 6 months, especially when it comes to expenditure, whether they are still going to actively pursue that aggressive expenditure management, whether they are going to, I mean, settle all debts, arrears and all that, whether Bank of Ghana can continually do their intervention, especially when we know that this year we learned Gold Board is now going to be full in charge of exports and the rest. We want to see whether because it means that now Bank of Ghana is not really going to get the whole foreign exchange again. I mean, like they are used to, because Gold Board now has to account for the whole transaction. Do you get it? So we just need to look for the next 6 months. If the next 6 months we are still seeing the government pursuing its policies. Still, I mean, in terms of fiscal prudence, we are seeing that we are seeing not too much extravagant expenditure. Last year, they even cancelled. I mean, we did the independence celebration, but it was very moderate. If you continue that path, then it will give, I mean, clear signs that things will continue that way. And once we will see that situation, then it seems that we will also wait to see what happens the second year. But the real challenge will be when they need a successor to continue, whether they will move away from what they are doing now. Because most often, when it gets to that point, they forget about these things and try to, I mean, make people happy. And then that's where the real challenges will start. Do you get it? Right. But for the first, I'm sure even NPP government for the first 2 years, things were smooth and we were even happy. But after,
everybody thought
things were in order. Then things began to change after the 2020 election. So basically, as for government, normally when they come for the first year, second year, it's like that in every country. They are new, so they want to prove a point. So for the first 2 years, they will try to do things right. But that's where, as a businessman, as a businesswoman, you don't need to feel like we have arrived. No. Especially when we are seeing a lot of serious active intervention, both at the physical side and then the monetary side. They are all actively now engaging to, I mean, achieve a particular economic outcome. So we need to slow down a bit, watch them, see the things they are doing, the policies they are bringing, and if you realize they are being consistent with it, then we can now have hope that we have arrived.
So, but even that arrival, there's still questions.
There's still questions on it. Exactly.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So let's turn our attention to investments, and I want us to talk about that a bit, and also maybe the sectorial implications.
Okay.
How does this particular intervention influence investment decisions, both local and foreign?
Okay. So I think it's a good question. Now, when it comes to investment issues, you see, especially when it comes to foreign investors, they always want stability. Because, I mean, stability will help them plan and know that at least you can pay back whatever they are going to invest. So at the investment side, one, we will even attract more foreign investors, especially when we have, I mean, we beat all the forecasters, all the international forecasters. We beat everybody. So there's that serious confidence in our economy. Just that there's that narrative, the narrative that is more of artificial engineering kind of stuff. But you know, those who have even invested already, most often when the year comes to an end, they decide where to go, especially when they are not seeing the economy doing well. But now that Ghana economy is doing well, I'm sure these foreign investors will not be in rush to take their money away. Right. Those who have invested in MTN, all the shares. It happened last 2 years. We see a lot of, I mean, people selling their shares to offload their investment. We are not seeing that this year.
Some companies had to leave the country.
Exactly the point. But we are not seeing that this year. They feel like, oh, there's not even no profit of doing that, because when you do that and you exchange to your currency, you get less. Assume you invested at 13 cedis, and now when you exchange is 11, you not be, I mean, encouraged to, I mean, convert your investment into cedis. So you continue to do that investment. Local investors too, I mean, things have stabilized. So there's, and clearly you will see that now government bonds, securities are not really attractive like that. So I mean, those who invested in shares, and they're even moving away from this treasury investment to, I mean, company investments, real investment. And that will engineer growth. Do you get it? Basically, I always say that always as a government, you must make your your treasury investment non-lucrative. Because once it's lucrative for banks to even invest in treasury bills, they will never go and invest in or even give loans, because they know treasury is safe. So once it's predictable, and but if we are giving 10%, they want more, so they will chase companies, and that will engineer growth at the rest sector aspect. So it's a good thing that we are all seeing.
Right. So investors are going to come. But the foreign investors, don't they know that what we are doing is artificial?
Yes. So you see, that's why it's always necessary to send a lot of signals.
Okay.
And that's why the finance minister is deliberately engaging in the things that he is doing. For example, paying debt early to the energy sector that we are seeing them also paying. So all these things send a good signal to invest. And we are not borrowing to pay. That's one good thing. We are not really borrowing like the way every time we borrow money to pay our debt. We are not seeing that. So in that, it gives them the confidence. Oh, even though we are seeing a lot of artificial intervention, it looks like the country is doing well, because to pay debt early, to pay all these things, bills without borrowing, it's a good sign for a developing country.
Right.
Because I don't think any developing country is doing what we are doing now. So even though the conversation may be about artificial engineered interventions, I'm very sure that they also see more stability, growth. GDP numbers too are good now. Debt to GDP has now fallen to about 45%. So everything now is, working, especially when it comes to, and they look at those numbers to make their investment decision. They are not here to listen to our political shows. But once the numbers are good, they are good to go.
Right. So the numbers. So from where you sit, you think that the numbers are supporting the narrative?
Yes. Personally, I believe for now the numbers are supporting the narrative.
Right.
The only thing is that maybe it's deliberate. We are not seeing government serious intervention in terms of the growth aspect, the real economy aspect. But maybe it's possible that they wanted to stabilize things, and then once they are done, they will move to the real economy aspect. You see a lot of construction now going on. People are complaining that the finance ministry is not paying. That's why things are. Maybe it's a whole lot of things they are doing. So now they have started doing those things. So I'm sure growth will pick up very soon.
Yes. Right. Okay. But are there some untapped opportunities in, say, local production and value-added industries? And I want us to help our businesses who are listening to us this morning. So I want to know whether there are some opportunities in those areas that business could actually pursue now.
Yes. So you see, the city has stabilized, which means that machines can now be even imported into the country at a cheaper rate. And now, if it looks like government want to invest a lot in the agricultural sector, what it means is that most of our products that we have been complaining that we are not adding value. Even now, gold, we are now the whole government is controlling gold purchase. So businesses can now decide to go into gold related value added businesses, and then poultry and all. You can do all those things. The government is now willing to support. They brought this in Akoko, so they are ready to support. So once you just need to look at what government really want to do, and most often once you know what the government really want to do and you engage in that, you get the support from them. And that support may come from either Bank of Ghana, Gold, but you can go for support, and I'm sure they will be willing to support you in such business adventures. So just look at what the government is trying to achieve. Whatever value they want to add now, people are talking about value addition to this, value addition to the cashew.
We've been talking about that for a very long time.
When I was in JHS4, we have been value addition. But I think this is the right time to do so, especially when government now wants to support industries to grow. It's a positive sign to start doing those things.
All right, so exactly 15 minutes to the top of the hour. This is Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Nichwebi Hammond. And this morning, my guest is John Che, and we're talking about stabilizing the city, what risks and opportunities are there. After the injection of $10 billion by the Bank of Ghana into the forex market. And we've spoken about quite a number of things, talking about investments, talking about whether this is actually a good move or not, and whether it is temporary or it is permanent. We've touched on quite a number of things, but you can still join the conversation if you want to do that. Please feel free to send me a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019. Let's hear your comments on the conversation. If you want to actually make some comments on some of the points that we've made as well, you are allowed to do so. You can also call us on 03039566641, 03039566641, and then we give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. You can drop a comment on any of the live streams and we will read them for you as well. So, John, let's touch on some of the other things in terms of the risks and the vulnerabilities, really. Now, what are the potential risks of relying too heavily on central bank intervention in the forex market, or to support the currency, basically?
Okay. So I think one basic thing we need to understand is that you also have Forest Bureau, and they operate as businesses.
Yeah.
And, as far as there are also businesses operating, remember, they also want to make profit. Do you get it? Now, if we continue to rely on always central bank intervening, in this case, we are seeing them, actively intervening, directing where the exchange rate will be. You see, most often, some of these interventions will also have negative implications, especially when you are also not looking at the home side, the monetary policy side at the home. Now, you see, once you are pumping in dollars into the economy, what happens is that the good thing is that, those who are buying the dollar, they exchange cedis. So also it's like mopping up the cedis from the system.
Okay.
And you see, if you are mopping the cedis from the system, remember here, if you want to do investment, it's cedis.
Yeah, true.
But as far as you are selling these things and people are buying, what it means is that you are reducing the cedi in circulation. Okay. Now, once you reduce the cedi in the circulation, it's going to affect, businesses in terms of money available for investment. Do you get? Because at this rate, many companies will even think of, as far as the cedi has come to 10 and President says it's 10, why don't we buy the dollars and keep it? By all means, the rate will change and we can sell for. Instead of them using those monies for investment, they want to take advantage of the low rate to benefit from in case of.
But John, earlier you were actually advising that, or?
Yes,
advising that they.
Yeah. So you see, that was for planning purpose.
Okay.
So, for example, if I know that in 6 months' time I will need this amount of money, and now the exchange rate is 10 cedi 40 pesos, and I know my president has promised that the rate is going to stay the same. When there can be fluctuations also, the best thing to do is to start saving. But I was advising the issue of saving gradually.
Okay.
Towards it. So you can save gradually. Every month you can decide to put some dollars somewhere. So that when the fluctuation starts, you have this to rely on to pay your bills and the rest. So that was a good strategy too.
Okay.
But every strategy also has its negative side.
Of
Do you get it? So, but some companies may do it more. Instead of them investing the monies they have now, they want to put it in dollar account.
Yeah.
And then money they need, I'm not talking money they need for investment down, they will put it in a dollar account. And those things cannot, bring any returns in the short term.
Okay.
So if you are actively intervening all the time, and it's like the whole market is waiting to see whether you intervene or not intervene, you make the economy more of like a policy-driven economy
right,
than more of market-driven economy. And if it's a policy, or let's say a regulator-driven economy, basically there will be issues.
Okay.
And once those issues start, there will be serious panic. And that panic can even, water down all the benefits you have achieved over the years, especially when they see signs that now you are not capable of doing so. So don't send that signal that the economy is being driven by the regulator or the policy makers.
Yeah.
No. Sometimes even there are months that you can decide to allow the market to react and see what happens. But if every time you come and announce, especially when they first announce before the intervention happens, see those ones, every time they'll be expecting to see whether you come and announce. If you don't announce it, then
they go back to,
you get it.
Right.
Then they start, and once the panic starts, this man, government couldn't, central bank is not intervening. They feel like maybe the reserves are finished and a whole lot of things are going to, and that can even lead to shock into the economy. So you have to, don't make it persistent. Like every month you need to intervene. And every month you need to announce the intervention. When it happens that way, it's like the whole business community is putting trust in the regulator to intervene. But it can never be an intervention. Central bank intervention can never be forever. There will be an end to it at a particular point in time. So don't give that market assurance that your intervention is what is keeping the economy afloat. You have to allow the dynamics to also work to see whether the market is strong enough to behave under free market economy. Okay. Because you are not doing a command market economy where you are regulating everything, you are fixing everything, and you are directing everything. That is not a good economy to supervise.
Right.
So they should also allow the market to also have its way. So there shouldn't be every time central bank intervention. No.
Okay.
I don't think we should rely on it.
How often should they intervene?
You can decide to do maybe.
What signal should they look at to
I
intervene?
personally feel like don't let the market even know of it. don't let the market, feels like we are always waiting for what the central bank says before we decide on what to do with our business.
Okay.
Do you get? But I think for now, it's like everybody is waiting. What you have mentioned you are going to intervene, so they are waiting for the intervention. So it's like every time they are waiting to see whether you intervene. That's not a good economy, right? Because like it's being centrally managed by the regulator. So you can do surprise interventions. You have the numbers, you know what the banks report daily. So if you see the rate is fluctuating too much, you can decide to show up without even announcing to the public that we are going to. I know the announcement is more of to stop speculations, to make investors and businesses know that you are fully in charge and things have stabilized and there's no need to speculate that the city will depreciate again. So you'll be comfortable doing whatever you are doing. But you see, what it means is that they are always relying on you for such intervention, which is not good in the long run. So you can do surprise intervention. You don't need to announce it. So at the backstage, you are making things work, but not playing the front row. As we are seeing now.
All right. Okay, maybe finally, we have to talk about strategic response. I know you've mentioned some of them scattered here and there for the business community. They are the reason why we're having this particular conversation. So tell me, what should a business or how should businesses adjust their financial forecasting, also their budgeting and risk management in this current climate?
All right. I think it's a very good question. I think so for businesses, what they need to do is that we have the history. They shouldn't forget the history, even though things are moving on well. And they should also speculate that the city is going to depreciate, so they want to take advantage. And therefore, some businesses will decide, once it's 10.4, let me go and buy a lot of dollars and wait, and then when it happens, those things are not necessary. But what I believe we need to do is that, for now, that's why I say you can do gradual savings into a dollar account. Not too much. You can decide that for every month, there's the amount of money you are going to put in your dollar account to build. It's like also like the way central bank has built its reserves. You're also building your reserves to offset any loss that will happen in the future. Then also, personally, I feel we need to also develop, our derivative markets. Things like this. People have the opportunity to enter into, forwards, futures, and the rest. So that they don't need to look for dollars now, where it will lead to, mad rush, and as a result, city will depreciate. The central bank can help build our derivative market, so that people can even speculate that the city will depreciate more in June and make decisions concerning hedging strategies, so they can have the chance to hedge against maybe 6 months payment they are going to make, 8 months payment they are going to make, 10 months payment. That will help if our derivative market is developed. That will help businesses to know that there are some strategies that they can embark on to reduce their risks in the long run. At this current moment, we don't have such markets. We don't have that derivative market to allow businesses to do also. So maybe that aspect we are a bit. So if you look at developed economies, those markets are even bigger than the normal markets that you hear of. And businesses use that to manage their currency risks a lot. So maybe those are the things that we can do as far as businesses are concerned. Just that for business in Ghana, we are a bit restricted, because the options are not too much for us, and it's like always the government is what we are looking up to. We don't really have much to do in terms of managing our currency risk, because those options are not available. There are markets that they have forwards, futures, swaps, where you can, even if the exchange risk, you can go and do some swaps, you can do options, a whole lot of opportunities to manage some of these risks. Do you get it? It's like here, you have to do the real exchange, and that is the disadvantage. Maybe they can also go to their bank and try to fix rate with them and see whether those ones too are possible. But I don't think the banks will agree,
to
because this current rate they are not happy. I mean, yes, because they are also not getting enough from that.
Right. John, thank you very much for your time this morning. I don't know if you have any final words, but yeah, before we go.
Okay. So my final words to be that I mean, we have started a new year.
Yeah.
We are seeing stability. We are seeing the government, I mean, doing things right. We are hoping that it will continue. We are hoping that, in fact, interest rates will come down. I mean, that's my major concern. We need to engineer growth. And interest rate is one of the basic elements that drive growth. So maybe the central bank should be active in trying to help in that regard. The policy rate is still high. It needs to come, inflation is now 7%, it's 5%. Interest is 11. We need to bring policy rate to about 12%, so that in effect people can now borrow at a single rate. The white people are doing. Some people are even borrowing in Japan. They are borrowing at 0.75. Why won't there be growth?
Right.
Because I borrow at 0.75 in a whole year. And here we are borrowing at 20%, 15%. How do you expect us to compete? So it's necessary to bring the interest rate down to support businesses.
Thank you very much. John Che is a financial analyst, and he joined me this morning for a big roundtable discussion. It's been a very good conversation, talking about exactly, stabilizing the city, opportunities and the risks that are there for businesses after the BOG's $10 billion US dollar move. And John has given us a lot of insight as to what exactly businesses should do. And I believe that you've picked a thing or two from this particular conversation. But if you miss any part of it, feel free to visit our social media platforms. It's going to be on our YouTube at Z Multimedia, and also on Facebook at ZFMGH. You can actually visit those platforms and play back and actually take note of some of the things. And then it can help you plan better and also predict into the coming months or so. So that's how we wrap up today on the roundtable discussion in Chi. Omeka say yes, sorry. So thank you very much for staying with us right from 6:15 till now. My name is Nitra B. Hammond, and we're back again tomorrow for more interesting conversations. Until then, please take care of yourself. And when you think Ghana, think Zed. I'll see you tomorrow. Up next is The Brighter Side with Jeremy Okori Amwako. Please don't